Need some last-minute fantasy football advice? Then the boys at the Fade Route have you covered. Check out Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z every NFL Sunday, noon Eastern during the regular season. D and I give you our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy starts or green lights, and our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy sits or red lights. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z every NFL Sunday, noon Eastern during the regular season. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z. Coming at you from the AO Studios, it's the Fade Route with D and Z. Here are your hosts, D and Z.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Coming at you live from the AO Studio.
H-E-Y-Y-O, AO.
It's the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D. We got a great show for you tonight. Juan Soto's hot stove is getting hot. Fantasy football season is heading to the playoffs. And we discuss my top 25 players in the NBA right now. But we begin today's show with breaking news. The Jets, or the Paper Planes, have decided to part ways with GM Joe Douglas after what has become a lackluster season. He finishes his GM job with a 30-64 record. He has been kind of praised for drafting some talent. He had the offensive and defensive rookies of the year last year, but he could never get the quarterback position correct. He let Sam Darnold go, drafted Zach Wilson, decided to bring in Aaron Rodgers, and this team can't beat the Indianapolis Colts at home. So Z, I ask you, was this the right move to do on a bye week? Or should they let him just ride out the rest of the season?
Well, I know you said breaking news, and that's pretty fair because the Jets are broken. It's a broken toy. And it's been a broken toy for a while. Now, if you do it on a bye week, you have to have somebody in place who is going to kind of steady the ship, right? When you fired Robert Saleh, you promoted Jeff Ulbrich. Now, whether that turned out to be a massive miscalculation because Ulbrich doesn't seem to be the guy. Now, who was it going to be? Was it going to be Downing? It certainly wasn't going to be Nathaniel Hackett. So you kind of had to go with who was there after firing Saleh. Here, in this instance, they have Phil Savage. He's the interim GM. He's respected around the league. He has general manager experience before. Granted, it was in the AF with the Arizona Hotshots. But, hey, experience is experience. Didn't say it was good experience since they folded after 6 games. There's that. But, as a scout, as an evaluator of talent, not quarterbacks, the talent around quarterbacks, Joe Douglas was able to identify some solid players, right? Mekhi Becton didn't play well for the Jets. He's doing a bang-up job in Philly. Sounds like he's finally healthy. So, he was a top-flight offensive lineman coming out of college. Look at Sauce. This year notwithstanding, a solid player, right? He drafted the offensive and defensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson and Sauce. Now, Will McDonald is proven to be a decent linebacker rather. Fashanu got some burn, and he seemed okay. Like he's raw, so Fashanu needs to get in there. Breece Hall, when featured, Breece Hall is actually pretty good. In a lot of fantasy drafts, he was RB1. Right? We were debating that. Do you take Breece Hall in the RB1 slot, or do you go with Derrick Henry? Now, as it turns out, Derrick Henry was the correct answer, but that's a usage issue. That's not so much a talent issue. And we're going to get to fantasy disappointments, and that's certainly one of the reasons why some players are fantasy disappointments. he didn't hit on the quarterback. That is the reason why he's in the position he's in. This is the reason why Joe Shane will be in the position that he's in. This is why the GMs are in the positions that they're in. You don't hit on the quarterback, you're in a world of suck for 5 years or maybe longer. There have been 8 starting quarterbacks since 2019 with the Jets. I defy you to name them all, and we're not going to do that because there's some obscure names on that list, and if you can name them, post it on our X account at FadeRouteDNZ. Name all 8, and you'll get a hearty congratulations on this here show. Name them in order, and shit, we'll send you an Alleged Superstar t-shirt. Name 8 of them without cheating. Without cheating. There you go. We can stat check this shit. So, ultimately, what Joe Douglas will be remembered by, some solid picks, didn't get the quarterback right, and destroyed the team with the Aaron Rodgers trade. Like you brought in, you kind of introduced the poison that ended your own demise. Because with that came anybody who I ever associated with in Green Bay now gets a job. Right? That cronyism. Usually that's served for like palace intrigue and politics. Now that it's in football too, in Florham Park. That was enabling from the top down. And he's complicit. Joe Douglas is complicit in that. He has his hand in that. So, ultimately, I don't know if he gets another GM job. More than likely, he's going to end up being scouting or some kind of player personnel away from that level of decision making. As far as where the Jets go from here, I guess this is Phil Savage's time to prove that he can do the job. At this point in time, we're walking into week 12. What decisions is he really going to make? Right? He's going to sign a practice squad guy. He's going to have a tryout for a kicker. It looks like they finally hit on a kicker this year. Anders Carlson did a hell of a job.
Did they bring him up from practice squad? They brought him up from practice squad, didn't they?
They got him off of the Niners practice squad. He was starting for the Niners. Yeah. And now Moody's. Don't you think the Niners would rather have Carlson over Moody, who missed 5 fucking kicks? So,
where do you grade Douglas on the Hassan Reddick situation?
Oh, F. You brought in a dude who didn't want to be here. You didn't know because you didn't call. Hey, Hassan, do you want to be a Jet? How do you like... I know you're from Jersey. Do you want to come back? Do you want...
Who this?
New phone. Who is this?
Who this?
F on that. F on John Franklin Myers. Why the fuck did you trade John Franklin Myers? It makes no sense. He was your best pass rusher. No, we can't have that. We got to get rid of him. An incomplete on the Zach Wilson trade? I don't know. I don't know. And then an F on the Aaron Rodgers trade. Dude can't trade. He can't trade. The Devontae Adams, I'll give him an incomplete. I'll be nice and give him an incomplete. But yeah, free agency. What did he do in free agency? He brought in Conklin. He brought in, he brought in a bunch of guys, but he brought in Lazard. He brought in Williams. He brought, it's not good. It's not good.
He's no good.
It's no good. It's starting to pile up on that side of he's got to go, right? For all the decent drafting he did, it's now coming around to the other side. Oh shit, it's getting heavier and heavier, and the scales are tipping in favor of this dude's got to go. But yeah, overall, if you're gonna give him a letter grade, probably a D+. Because I think the trades and the free agent signings vastly outweigh whatever good he did. And I think D plus might be generous.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm overly critical on him. I thought a lot of the moves he made were just awful. He missed on the quarterback. I mean, it's nice that you got all these things. Like if you bought a car, you got nice rims, you've got a nice leather interior, but you have no one driving the fucking car, and the car doesn't have a steering wheel. And that's basically what he did. He didn't have a coach, and he didn't have someone to drive the car. And at the end of the day, Z, Aaron Rodgers, this whole fucking situation goes on him. He was the general manager. He decided to move on from Zach Wilson, and he decided we're going to go all in on Aaron Rodgers because we're a quarterback away, right? It's all we've been hearing for 2 years, that we're a quarterback away. You're not a quarterback away. If you were a quarterback away, you'd still have a job.
Right.
But you decided to go all in on this guy. And wait. Then you had a chance. You had a chance to redeem yourself. This man tore his Achilles tendon. He was out all last season. And what'd you say? I don't want Justin Fields. I don't want Mac Jones. I don't want any of those guys. We're going to run it back. I don't want Russell Wilson. We're going to run it back with this man. This 40-year-old man who tore his Achilles. And we're going to go get his friends. We're going to go get disgruntled Devontae Adams. We're going to rent him, which that is just useless now. Aaron Rodgers has attempted the most passes this year in the National Football League.
That's crazy.
At 41 years old.
And none of them have gone past 5 yards.
Right. And Breece Hall, your offensive rookie of the year, just collecting dust. You talk about the hits he made on the draft. How about the people he missed on? Denzel Mims. Jabari Zuniga, retired.
Oof.
LaMichael Pirine. James Morgan, who plays in the Canadian Football League now. Cameron Clark, retired.
Oof.
Bryce Hall is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a corner. Braden Mann is a Philadelphia Eagle. You like Will McDonald? I think Will McDonald sucks.
He did let Bryce Huff go. Did he draft Bryce Huff? No.
I'm looking through it now.
He let Bryce Huff go in free agency. How'd that work?
Michael Carter the second.
Oh, right, the running back. As opposed to Michael Carter, who's still on the team.
Elijah Moore.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Eccles.
Who?
Elijah Vera Tucker. I know he plays, but Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. Trash. Fucking trash. This guy doesn't deserve a job in the fucking mailroom. And then, like you said, the Son Reddick debacle. Motherfucker doesn't want to play here. And he told you that he wasn't going to come unless he got his money. You let this drag on for like 8 weeks. Trade him. Get him out of here. After Robert Saleh gets fired, the dude changes his agent. He comes back in the building. 3 weeks later, you lost your job because you're an idiot. You could have traded him to Dallas. You could have traded him to Cleveland. You could have traded him anywhere.
Detroit.
And Detroit. Give me anything. Give me a ham sandwich. Just get him the fuck out of here. But no, you want to be pride. You want to stick on your pride. You want to show you were a man. Now you're out of a job. You're never going to get another GM job again. You had all this talent. They're fucking 3-8, Z. They're 3-8.
They're a quarterback away.
They can't beat the Colts. Anthony Richardson hasn't played football in a fucking month. He came in there and led the game-winning drive. No problem. Like win through the pasture. Nobody wants to tackle him. Nobody's catching his passes. I don't get what Dan Orlovsky. I don't get what Michael Florio. I don't get what Rich Eisen are talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. At the end of the day, his job was to win. He didn't win. He's 30 games under 500.
You're being charitable.
When's he going to start winning? When's he going to start winning? This year was a failure. Let's say they kept him. They didn't fire him. When's the turnaround? When's the turnaround coming? Aaron's back next year. We're going to run this back again? You didn't fire the offensive coordinator who deserved to be fired. Why? Why is everybody else losing their job but this guy? Huh? What? Zach Wilson's laughing today.
Well,
I don't get it.
Everybody's
Everybody's
head is rolling because you can't fire the owner. Like, Woody Johnson is incompetent. Like, I think we've realized
what
that.
Did you want? But Z, what did you want Woody to do? What did you want him to do? He said, Joe, run the team. Go. Do whatever you want. What do you need, Joe? I want Devontae Adams. All right, get Devontae Adams. You want Aaron Rodgers? I will give you my jet. You go fly to California and talk to Aaron Rodgers if that's the guy you want. Go get him. Go get him. You don't want Zach Wilson anymore? Fine, trade him. Signed off. Here, trade. He's gone. Don't sign him. What did you want Woody to do? What is Woody supposed to do? He's the GM. He hired the coach.
Woody's job as the owner is to provide stability and create an infrastructure for success. So the only difference between Jerry Jones and Woody is that Jerry Jones is so stupid that he doesn't realize he's not good enough to be the GM. At least Woody, I will give Woody credit. He knows he's not a football guy.
So what did you want Woody to do?
So here's an idea.
Says, hey, I want to go get Aaron Rodgers. What are you supposed to say to him? No.
What's it going to cost me?
No. Is there somebody else?
What's it going to cost?
He comes and he says no. He comes to you and he says, Mr. Johnson, we are a quarterback away. Zach was the reason why we were losing. He wasn't able to do X, Y, and Z. Aaron Rodgers is a former MVP. He had a good year 2 years ago. I believe in him. He can win us games. And we're going to bring in some of the Green Bay Packers that he's played with to play in his offense. We're going to bring in his offensive coordinator, and we're going to win games. What are you going to say to him? No? I don't like the plan. Sounds like shit.
I don't like the plan. It does sound like shit. It does, actually. It sounds like a lot of shit.
But he's doing other things. Like, he hired this man to run the team. That's his job. And as a general manager, I'm supposed to create the team.
Just like he hired
coach to win games.
Just like he hired Mike McCagnon. Just like he hired John Idzik. Just like this is Woody. This falls.
So he's got. So what? He's got to be Jerry Jones too.
No,
he's got to be paying attention. What do you want him to do?
He has to hire competent people.
You didn't think Joe Douglas was competent when he got hired?
He was an unproven.
You didn't think he was?
He was an unproven.
But do you think he was competent? You said competent. You don't think he was a competent hire?
Based on his reputation at lower levels, he was worth taking a flyer on.
Absolutely. And up until Aaron Rodgers, did you think he drafted and did a decent job? Up until Zach Wilson, really?
No.
And he probably sold shit on that?
He built okay teams, but the whiffed on the quarterback. Like, that's like we said, the quarterback is essential to his position. Now, if you
I just don't know how Woody falls into that. I don't know how that's the owner's problem that the GM who drafted Breece Hall, who drafted Sauce Gardner, could not figure out the quarterback position. And that's Woody Johnson's fault, who was in Ireland most of the time.
Woody Johnson has enabled this for the better part was 2024 since he can Rex. Like, this is the abyss that got started. And this fall, he's the constant. All the players leave, all the front office leaves, all the coaches leave, all the fans leave. Woody Johnson is the constant. He absolutely is the constant. And we know he's a sucker. You want to know why we know he's a sucker? Because he hired Charlie Casserly to do a huge, extensive search. And lo and behold, Charlie Casserly handed Woody his friend. Oh, John Idzik. He's wonderful. He's going to be a fantastic candidate. That's Casserly with 2 S's on that check. There's 2 S's in Casserly. So, you're not a football guy. I appreciate you realizing that and trying to do that. But how many times do we have to go through this in an organization? You figure you're going to hit on somebody. Now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about where they go from here. Do you go young and improve? You go young and unproven again? Or can you get somebody who has a reputation in this league? Somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing? Can you get them to come in here?
GM
I'm talking about, I'm talking about operations. I'm talking about GM. I'm talking about all of it. Can you get a front office in here that's actually competent? Can you get somebody in this building who is a professional at this, who has done it before, who has the respect in the league, who doesn't have to prove anything, who has done it before, and who has the gravitas to move it forward and to stabilize this organization, because it's a clown show. And it's been a clown show for a very long time. Who is, if anybody, is there anybody out there? I know Ryan Grigson, I think. No. If Ryan Grigson's the answer, change the question. No. So who is that guy? You know, who's it going to be? I don't see anybody on the foreseeable future. Now, are you going to end up? You're going to poach a guy from a stable organization, right? You're going to take like the assistant GM of the Chiefs, or you're going to take the assistant G. You're going to say, "This is your opportunity." Like, you're going to have your own team now. Like, this is, you're going to take one of Brandon Beane's guys from Buffalo. Like, is that the plan? Is that what's going to happen here? Because you're going to do that, and then you're going to go with Ben Johnson, and then you're going to be in the wilderness for 10 years again. Like, what's the plan? What is the plan? And the owner, there's nobody left. He's got to figure this plan out. He's got to put it together. Because Phil Savage isn't the answer. He's an interim. You're not going to trust him to put the team together.
Well, the New York Jets aren't the only New York team that's in trouble. We are a New York-based show, so we're going to move right over to the New York Football Giants. Yeah. They will be benching Daniel Jones in favor of Tommy DeVito for the rest of the season. Jones has an injury clause in his contract, which states the team will need to pay him over $23 million if he gets hurt in the second half of this year. The Giants are turning to DeVito instead of Drew Lock, and reports are that the Giants GM has scouted Shedeur Sanders in person twice this year. So Z, I asked you, what's the Giants' plan? Are they tanking?
Are they tanking? Well, let's address that. Let's address that first before we get to the Shedeur and Coach Prime package deal, because that appears to be the case. Like, if you're getting Shedeur, you may be getting Coach Prime as well. But are they tanking? Ooh, well, here's the thing. Tommy DeVito screwed them out of Jaden Daniels and Drake May. So I think they're trying to win. Which is foolish. Because right now, Jacksonville is 2-9. They currently own the number 1 pick. Are they taking a quarterback? If they maintain the number 1 pick, they have Trevor Lawrence. You just paid him a handsome sum of money. Are you moving on from Trevor Lawrence? That's interesting. If you move on from Trevor Lawrence, I would take a flyer on him as a Giant. I wouldn't mind that. He's still young enough in this league. More than likely, they would take Travis Hunter. More than likely. Now, if the Raiders somehow move into number 1, could you imagine Shedeur Sanders, Coach Prime, Las Vegas? That's a
Well, that's a report. The report is that he celebrates every time the Raiders lose,
yeah.
and it seems like that's a destination that he's interested in going.
I would say so. It's glitzy, it's glamorous, it's Dion, right? It's him in a city. I don't think that it's a good fit. Regardless of what Joe Shane may think, I just don't know if it's a good fit. Milroe is solid. Cam Ward is solid. Are you going down this road again? Or are you signing a veteran quarterback for a year and then going after a guy like Arch Manning in the next draft? Because you're going to be in this for a while. It's in the eye of the beholder. Now, if Joe Shane really is in love with Shedeur Sanders, yeah, take him. Well, sure, why not? Why not? So he's within his right because Daniel Jones was not his guy. DeVito is a weird situation because there's flashes of talent there. Last year, there were moments where he looked completely overwhelmed. There was that game against the Jets where they told him, do not throw the ball. Like, we're just going to run. We're on the 5-yard line, coach. Yep, we're on our 5-yard line. But yeah, I know, we're going to run the ball. What? Like, so they would rather run the ball and punt and give excellent field position to the Jets than have Tommy DeVito throw a pass. It's just confusing. Now, there are some clauses in Drew Lock's contract where he would trigger some bonuses and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think that they're pinching pennies at this point because they paid Daniel Jones how much fucking money? So, I understand that they're rushing Daniel Jones. Yeah, I think it's a wash between Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito because Drew Lock's more talented. Both guys are good enough to get you beat, which achieves the goal that you're looking for, right? You're trying to secure a higher draft pick. Both guys will get that done for you. Shit, Daniel Jones could get that done for you too. The problem is that they don't want to guarantee his contract if he somehow gets hurt, which he has proven to be an injury-prone quarterback. But are they actively tanking? Now it's official. Now I think Tommy the Tank Engine is where this is going. I think that that's the plan, but this time they need to clue the Italian in on it. Last year, he went out there and actively tried, and we could be watching Jaden Daniels on Sunday for the Giants, or Drake May. Malik Neighbors is nice. But when you can't get the ball to him, it's really kind of a moot point now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really agree with what the Giants are doing. And maybe that's just because I'm a Drew Lock fan, closet Drew Lock fan. This wild card is not out of reach for them. They do have a decent defense, especially a good run defense. I think Drew Lock goes in there. He played in Seattle last year. He played with DK Metcalf. He can get the ball to Malik Neighbors, and he's gonna be able to get the ball downfield. And I think in the remaining games he'd have more than 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. It's just really depressing. You can tell that the Giants are just frustrated with Daniel. I mean, we just talked in the last segment about Aaron Rodgers missing guys. Unfortunately, Daniel's missing guys. You know what? I've always said that I like Daniel Jones. He didn't deserve to be a first-round draft pick. But he's like, he's one of those guys that you root for because it's like, okay, you want the guy to get a chance, right? And you want him to succeed, and you want him to do well. And 2 years ago, this team was a playoff team. and Brian Daboll was able to get Daniel Jones into the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They went to Minnesota and beat Minnesota, Z.
I remember.
He's capable. He's 100% capable, but he's not taking the steps forward, and he's not progressing. Unfortunately, at this point, Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback in the National Football League. That's what he is, and that's okay. But for you to say that you're going to turn to Tommy DeVito and not to Drew Lock, then what the fuck is Drew Lock doing on the team? What are you giving him $7 million for? What was the point of that? That's my only problem, Z. What'd you bring him here for? I get why Daniel Jones is sitting, because he's gone after this year. You figured it out. They ran a play in Germany. I think it was like a flea flicker. And no, there was 3 guys open. He didn't throw it at any of them. 3 guys were open in that play. If you watch it, they showed it on NFL Network. 3 guys were open in that play. He didn't throw it at any of them. And that's okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. But as I'm not a Giant fan. But if I was a Giant fan, I'm not happy about this. I want Drew Lock to play, and I want to win fucking games. We can win games. They can win games. The Commanders are not that great. They're not that great. They may have 7 wins, and they may have 4 losses. They still have a rookie quarterback. They still have a new head coach there. This is the NFC East, man. You're 5 games back, but anything can happen. Play them out. Play them out. You're not mathematically eliminated. When you're mathematically eliminated, by all means, move to Tommy DeVito. But I haven't seen anything from Shedeur Sanders that says, oh, we're going to tank for this guy. He's lighting the world on fire. He's not Andrew Luck. No. He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not any of these guys. Is he Josh Allen? He's okay.
Right? Is he? That's the thing. You're chasing Josh Allen. You brought in the Buffalo Brain Trust. You brought in Shane. You brought in Daboll. Is Shedeur Sanders Josh Allen?
If he is Josh Allen, it took time. Remember? You remember Josh in the beginning? You remember that playoff game against Jacksonville? It was dreadful. The Peterman was in that game, I believe.
The Peterman.
It was like it took him 3 years, and even now he's better, but you know it took a while for him to realize I can't run over everybody. And if you remember, he threw a lot of interceptions in the beginning. I don't think you want to chase Josh Allen. I mean, I want to chase you want a guy that could definitely run and pass. But I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is an NFL quarterback.
So here's the thing. Let's do a tail of the tape real quick. Shedeur Sanders, 6'2", 216. Now, 22 years old. He could very well put on some muscle, right? Josh Allen, 6'5", 237. Like, that's a significant discrepancy. And Josh Allen is a physical runner. Right? Can he be that guy? I don't know if Shedeur Sanders can be that guy. As far as Drew Lock goes, like, is that it was $5 million, you take a flyer on him. I get why they brought him in.
Seven. It's 7. You get why they brought him in? Why'd they bring him in, Z?
Because Daniel Jones had bolts in his neck, and they didn't know if he was going to play. He was fucking Frankenstein's monster. And then he got the all clear. And then it's like, shit.
This team made the Super Bowl with Kerry Collins.
Yes, exactly. And Kerry Collins ain't walking through that door. So they need...
drunk Kerry Collins.
Rehab. Kerry Collins came out of rehab and took this team to a Super Bowl. That is true. But I don't... they had an opportunity to eschew this. They had an opportunity to go after Baker Mayfield. Not this past year, but before he landed in Tampa Bay. I would have loved Baker Mayfield. I was a proponent of Russell Wilson. Like, he's that bridge guy. Like, Justin Fields. A veteran quarterback who can get the job done. Like, just like in the Kerry Collins mold. Like, exactly that's exactly what I'm thinking about at this point in time. If you're not enamored with a guy, you shouldn't have to take a guy. but you bring in a steadying force. Daniel Jones did not provide that. Drew Lock, you and I agreed. Why the hell didn't they trade him? They could have gotten a pick. You're telling me Drew Lock isn't worth a fifth? A conditional fourth? Possibly?
You tell me, man. I got a Drew Lock jersey, man.
Like, Tua, as soon as Tua went down, why were they not dealing him to the Dolphins? Why didn't they do it? So there's, the scuttlebutt is they know something we don't know, and they see that he's bad in practice. I don't believe that. I believe Drew Lock he's got a cannon for an arm.
These are the same people that are watching Daniel Jones in practice and be like, all right, we're ready.
Right. We're good. It's all good.
We're good.
We're all good.
We're good.
So, I don't know. Talent evaluation is definitely on. It's definitely suspect at this point if you are a Giant fan.
You can't help but to smile when you see a balloon. PopstarsBalloons.com offers spectacular balloon decor for all of life's events, specializing in custom balloon creations and installations for private events, corporate and school functions, photo shoots, brand events, and fundraisers. Led by certified balloon artists, the Popstars Balloon team shape balloons into custom works of art. Popstar Balloons provides full concept balloon design, build and installation services, as well as pre-assembled decor pieces available for pickup or delivery. Popstar Balloons is a woman-owned, small family business focused on providing professional balloon services using only high-quality, 100% biodegradable natural latex balloons made in the U.S. and Italy. They consistently prioritize the safest use and handling of balloons in a sustainable and responsible manner. Popstars Balloons is located in Westchester County, New York, but likes to party at events throughout New York City, Connecticut, Long Island, and New Jersey. Popstars Balloons can also accommodate balloon decor services for destination events. No event too big, no event too small, and their custom personalization service is the perfect touch. They also offer a full line of event decor options like backdrop, prop rentals, tablescapes, dessert table setups, custom signs, and they always deliver with a smile. Whether you're looking for gift balloons, classic decor, or large-scale design for a big impact, Popstars Balloons will create the perfect decor for your theme, vibe, and space. So if you have an idea in mind or need inspiration, Popstars Balloons decor will be the cutting edge and spectacular. Visit popstarballoons.com to pop your next event.
But speaking of talent evaluation, it's fantasy season, right? And we're nearing the playoffs. Oh, some teams, some players didn't perform at a high level, whether they got hurt or just underperformed. And there were guys out there that were drafted high but lost the season for you. It's time to kind of reflect on your fantasy season and the fantasy season as a whole. Who are some of the biggest fantasy busts this year?
Well, see, I mean, listen, every year you're going to have fantasy bust, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not talking about guys that get hurt. I'm talking about guys that, you draft legitimately high and you want them to lead your team and they're just flat. And it just seems like this year there's more than usual, right? It seems like this year there's more than there ever was. I mean, I'm going to start off with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be like QB1. Right now, he's trending towards like QB 13. As good as the Chiefs are, he's got 15 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. 11 interceptions. Right?
Yeah.
And then, sticking with the Chiefs, you got Travis Kelce.
Oof.
Garbage. 507 yards and 2 total touchdowns. What? It's week 11. It's week 11. He's not even at 5. Now, all you people that wanted to jump on that Sam Laporta bandwagon and draft that guy in like the first 2 rounds, you're definitely sub 500. He's ranked 17. He's ranked number 17. He's got 3 touchdowns and about 300 yards receiving, he's already listed as out for Sunday because he's just been so up and down. Ravens defense. Ravens usually have like one of the best defenses in the NFL. They are ranked 30th against the pass, and they're on most people's waiver wire. The Baltimore
insane.
Ravens defense
That's insane.
is on the waiver wire. Now I get it. Nick Chubb was hurt to start the season, right? But Z, after 5 games, I think he'd have more than 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
I know Cleveland's bad, but can we get a goal line touch, man?
Not
I mean, some people were like drafting him as a savior, like a 5th round, 7th round kind of action.
Not when they're behind in every game and Jameis has to throw for 395. That's the problem.
That's another guy that the Jets could have got or the Giants could have got.
Yeah. I was big on Jameis. I would have liked that a lot. You're spot on.
This guy, and this guy Travis Etienne, probably drafted in like the 4th or the 5th round. The Jags' offense is terrible. He's got 2 touchdowns all season.
That's ridiculous.
He's only got 1 more touchdown than Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb's played far less games.
Yeah.
How about Javonte Williams? Javonte Williams is losing touches to a man named Endrick Esteem.
Who?
I mean, he's had good games where he's got like 24 points and 16 points, but he's also had games where he's only had 3 points and 1.7 as a running back.
Yeah.
What the actual fuck? And then you get Breece Hall, who was Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. We talked about it before the season started. He's a first rounder. Bona fide first rounder. So inconsistent. So unreliable. Oh, and by the way, his quarterback leads the league in pass attempts. Garbage. This year was a tough year for fantasy.
That's fair. That's all fair. The Chiefs it's very interesting that the whole is the greater than the sum of their parts right now, because Kelsey's having a down year. Mahomes is having a down year. Like, nothing to speak of for Pacheco. Like, just a lot of but they're just
hurt. He's hurt.
They're getting the job done.
Leg.
Like, they're still getting the job done, right? So he got hurt in week 2. And then they didn't get anything from Kareem Hunt. They're getting, like, pedestrian numbers. But that goes to show you fantasy is paper. Like, when you look at the game, they come together and they win. Because it's not played on paper. Like, the fantasy values are taking a hit all over the place. How many of the Niners got hurt? Right? McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Brock Purdy's now kind of is listed with a shoulder injury. So that takes a hit. Like, they get, Kyle Shanahan's offense is designed to get you beat up all the time. But this one, it's a lot more. It's taking, when George Kittle is the only person who's healthy, that's a problem.
Oh, he's not.
And George Kittle
is
is out too. So that's a problem. Hill and Waddle, you can explain away the fact that you had Skylar Thompson under center. Like, Garrett Wilson's performance, like, he's 5 touchdowns, okay, but you're telling me that they shouldn't have more with an alleged Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers? Like, he's definitely on the tail end of his career, is he not? Missing guys wide fucking open. Like, I happened to go with Mrs. Z and the boys. We went to the Jet game on Sunday. We saw that. And
did you lose a bet?
No, got free tickets, man. Thank you, Mr. KV. Thank you. So, when you get free tickets, you go. It doesn't matter. Does not.
Right.
That's right. So, but you're missing wide open. Aaron Rodgers missing wide open fucking guys. So, of course, they're going to suffer. Right? Devontae Adams still hasn't stabilized. He went from the Raiders to the Jets, and what has he really done? So it's thoroughly disappointing on all accounts. And then you have teams that are just so bad that everybody's neutralized. Like, the decision to keep Daniel Jones and play Daniel Jones pretty much rendered every single giant wide receiver useless in fantasy. Because you ain't reaching the end zone, you don't score at home. They don't score at home. So that's a problem. And then you got a guy like Jalen Hurts who dug himself a hole early on with the turnovers. He's digging out of it, but he did not equate himself well. So, yes, he's able to stabilize, but you're digging out of the hole. And, we're going to see what happens here moving forward. But, I mean, it's been a rough year. I mean, if you think about how good fantasy performances, right? Like Joe Burrow is fantastic fantasy wise, right? Like these offensive numbers look great. And then when you put it into reality, he's on a 3-7 football team. It's a dog shit football team. Like what has happened there? So, fantasy and reality sometimes don't equate to each other, but sometimes they completely mirror one another.
Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their graphic tees, hoodies, snapbacks, accessories, and more. Go to fckclout.com today and check out current season and past season merchandise for men and women. Get it while you can. That's fckclout.com. Check them out today. fckclout.com.
Switching over from fantasy to the reality of baseball economics, we are officially in the hot stove. You feel that? The crackling of the fire and, the clicking of pens and those commas and dollar signs and decimal points moving. It must mean one guy, Juan Soto. The discussions for Juan Soto are still ongoing, but they're heating up. Word on the streets, he wants to be the highest paid player in Major League Baseball. All 30 teams appear to be in play, but the front runners right now appear to be the Mets, Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox. Steve Cohen is apparently on record saying that he's willing to pay $50 million over the highest price. Hopefully he doesn't have the highest price already. You dumb fuck. I'll tack on another $50 million. Steve, you're the highest bidder. I said what I said. So, if you're a Yankee fan, would it be worse for you to lose Soto to the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, or the ever-present mystery team, which is most likely the Dodgers?
Yeah, so for me, I think you don't want to be playing him, right? You don't want to play against him.
Yeah.
So I would think the Red Sox is where you don't want to see him. And actually, if you look at it, I mean, him playing in Fenway Park, I mean, he would be a monster there.
Yeah.
I think the other problem the Yankee fans have is when you look at revenue, the Yankees made over $650 million in revenue this year. And they blew out almost every team. The Mets are around $350 million. So if you're a Yankee fan, you're like, well, wait a minute. We just won the World Series. Soto was arguably the best or second best player on our team. We made more money last year than any other team, and we're going to fucking lose this guy to the Mets? That might not go over so well. I think what people are failing to understand is, Cohen is running this baseball team as a hobby. The revenue he's making from this team, he's putting it right back into the team. It's not like the Yankees that have all these checks and balances, boards of directors, and we want to stay under the luxury tax and all these rules. I think it's going to get really interesting. I've heard Corbin Burns is between the Orioles and the Dodgers. There's also this pitcher that's coming over from Japan who, the Yankees or even the Red Sox might get for cheap. It sounds like they don't want to defer money. So I think if they're not going to defer money, the Dodgers are out. But yeah, I would think you don't want him to go to a team that you're going to play against because you're going to be constantly reminded that this guy, he was our guy.
Well, I think that you kind of, even though 30 teams are interested in Juan Soto, that's like saying, I'm interested in the prettiest girl at the dance. Like, of course you're interested. Is she interested in you? So Tampa Bay, sorry, you're out.
I'm surprised the Giants haven't been gotten more involved because they have money.
They have money, but I don't know. I just, free agents don't seem to want to go there. So I don't know what the deal is. It is a nice ballpark. It is. So I don't get why they don't go there. A reunion with San Diego is seemingly out. The Nationals seemingly out. The Orioles do have a new owner, and that would be something if he could somehow woo Juan Soto, like reestablish that there's a new sheriff in town in Baltimore. The Phillies are getting a meeting. We'll see about that, but yeah, teams like Cleveland, not happening. Detroit, not happening. Minnesota, could you imagine Juan Soto? I can't imagine Juan Soto in Minnesota.
No.
Yeah, I mean there are realistic options. Yes, absolutely. Everybody would want to get in on it, but there are only a handful of reasonable options. The Blue Jays, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that they're a realistic option, but that would be a hell of a lineup if they keep Vladdy. If they have Springer, Soto, Vladdy, Bichette, that's not bad. I don't think the Yankees would sweat losing Soto to the Blue Jays. Red Sox, yes. 100-year rivalry. Yeah, that would stick in their craw. That would absolutely stick in the Yankee craw.
The thing is like, if you're a Yankee fan, right? You want Juan Soto, but at what cost? Like, if you're going to pay him $600-700 million, and now that's the team, right? The team is going to be Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and right. It's going to be Austin. You're going to be Austin Wells. You're going to be Volpe, Peraza, Dominguez, and this is the team, guys. This is the team,
right? I can get Soto for $750, or I can get Santander from the Orioles. I could get Alex Bregman. Apparently, he wants to come to the Yankees. Like, that would be an interesting fit, but whatever. Like, you can get these guys. You can get 3 or 4 guys, maybe even more, for the amount that you're spending on Mr. Soto. So, it's foolish from the standpoint of like going all in when you have to pay 26 guys on your main roster, right? And when you have so many holes like the Yankees do, and you're losing guys like the Yankees are. So I think losing him to the Red Sox would hurt. Losing him to the Mets would be a double whammy, but not as bad because the Mets only play 4 times. Right? It's not like he's in your face 19 times a season. It's the optics of it. Yeah, it's the optics of it. Absolutely. I get the optics of it. Yeah.
Especially if he does well, which you would anticipate he will have at least 4 good years.
Right. You would figure. But you're looking at, what, a 15-year contract? It's a long time, man. That's definitely.
Is that what it is? I thought it was 13.
13 to 15. I mean, he's 20. He's going into this age 26 season. So you can do a 13 to 15 year contract. So it's the fact that he's going to be on his 4th team, before the age of 26 is kind of crazy. And it's not like he's a journeyman. He's a good player. That's the weird thing. He has value. But
he's a champion.
Yeah. It would kind of, I think it would sting more if it's the Red Sox, because that automatically reignites the rivalry. It's been kind of dormant, because the Red Sox haven't been anything special. And,
not really much of a rivalry. One team has 28 championships, the other team has 5? It's just not really a rivalry.
Yeah, there's plenty of rivalry there. There's plenty of rivalry there in the heat of it when you're looking I would say that the current rivalry is Yankees Astros, but the longer term rivalry is Yankees Red Sox. Now, Astros will be interesting. It looks like they're trying to scale shit back though. And the one thing that they could offer Juan Soto that that very few other teams, I should say, no state income tax. So if they wanted to be players, that would be the selling part. You're keeping more of your money. So if you're gonna come here, it's actually more money than if you go to the Yankees or if you go to the Mets or if you go to the Dodgers. Only 3 other teams can offer that kind of scenario. The Rays, they kind of need that money to rebuild their ballpark. So I think they're out on Soto. The Marlins, there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell he's going to the Marlins. And then there's the Rangers, who are tearing everything down after the World Series win. So the Astros could be realistic. It could absolutely be realistic. And they can kind of turn this around on the fly. But it's hard for me to think that we live in a world where the Yankees will be outbid. But it's slowly starting to, it's becoming that. And it's weird. It's very odd because you're the New York fucking Yankees. When did you guys stop being the New York fucking Yankees? This is weird. It's quite the world that we live in.
When owning a home, it's important to have heating and cooling professional available when things go wrong. Air Care Technicians is a veteran-owned HVAC company servicing the Westchester area. They are licensed to service, repair, maintenance, and replace all HVAC units. If your unit is not running properly or you would like to improve the air quality in your home, contact Air Care Technicians for a free quote. They offer same-day and emergency services for all of your needs. You can reach them at 914-315-1547. Air Care Technicians, 914-315-1547. Yep. Well, the NBA season is in full swing with this NBA Cup garbage. But I was just thinking about who are the top 25 NBA players so far this season. And we messaged about it during the week, and it was just something I decided to put together. I tried to stick with guys that are healthy and playing. I made some exceptions for players like Sabonis and Embiid because they're difference makers,
Right.
So let's go through my list. Let's see what you think about it. Did you make a list or no?
I did not make a list. This is your baby.
That's okay. We can just go through mine.
Yeah, let's go through your list. Let's see what you think.
So off the top, listen, I'm 40. LeBron's 39, gonna be 40. LeBron James is still the best player in the National Basketball Association.
You're a man. You're 40.
Hands down. The size, the speed, the talent, it's still all there. It's still all there, and he's giving it to people. Number 2, I'm going with Steph Curry. He's had a really good start to the season. The dribbling, the scoring, the shooting. He's no Klay Thompson now. They got Buddy Hield as his wingman, and he's still got it going on. Number 3, I've got Luka Doncic, and that's just, it's talent. It's just talent. He's 6'7". He can shoot. He can dribble. He doesn't play any defense, but He's a problem. All right. Number 5, I got Jaylen Brown. And now he was chosen, he wasn't chosen for the Olympic team.
Nope.
But he, to me, is the most well-rounded player on the Boston Celtics team that just won the championship. You with me so far?
So far, so good. So far, so good.
Okay. So now, number 6, I'm going with Joker because there's no answer for him. There's literally no answer for him. The only drawback to him is that he's not a guard. He's not super fast. But he can score it from anywhere on the field, on the court. Gets rebounds, gets assists, all-around player.
I would probably
Next,
move
I've got
them up if this was my list.
You want to move Joker up?
I would move him and Jaylen Brown over Luka because they play more defense. They're more well-rounded.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking
I
at
could get on board with that.
pure scorer, Luka stays where he is. You possibly bring LeBron down and you go Steph Luka. Possibly. Like, you can make the argument.
You're going to put Steph as the best player in the National Basketball Association.
If it was just
best
scorer. But since we're talking about
Okay.
all around, I think you have to penalize a player who doesn't play defense. In my opinion, you would penalize him a little bit.
So after Joker, I've got Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Shai Alexander, Ja Morant.
Yeah, okay. I mean, those are fair.
And Giannis rounds out my top 10. Okay,
That's fair. I mean, Kevin Durant might be a little too high, but that's that's quibbling right there. That's kind of splitting hairs.
so sitting outside my top 10 is Kyrie Irving, who I still think is the best ball handler in the NBA. I've got Joel Embiid here, really just because he's hurt. He's not in shape, but I know what he can do. I know what he does to a game. I know how he changes the game. So I've got him outside of the top 10. Booker, Karl Anthony Towns are my top 15. Now I get into Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, to me, is not as good as the 15 players in front of him. I'm taking all of those guys to be on my team before I'm taking Anthony Edwards. And now Sabonis from the Kings, he's a joke. He's like Joker, but he's not as tall. But he does it all. He can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound, and he plays defense. Damn good defense. I got Dame Lillard, Trae Young. To me, they're really the same player at this point. Street Clothes is next. And really, Anthony Davis, he's good, but how good is he without LeBron? Right? And he changes the game, but he also disappears. Sometimes he doesn't score in a quarter. Next, I've got Wemby, Jalen Brunson, and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They're interchangeable, even though their team is 15-0 and they're about to go 15-1. They're about to lose to the Celtics. And outside of my top 25, I've got Tyrese Halliburton and Draymond Green.
Very interesting. A name that's not on the list that I find very interesting. Jimmy Butler.
He's hurt. He's hurt.
But you put difference makers on there. So where would he be on? Who would he bump off, in your opinion, if Jimmy Butler was healthy and ready to go?
Healthy and ready, Jalen Brunson.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd rather have Jimmy than Jalen.
That's fair.
Yeah, I thought about him. Also, Chet Holmgren's not here.
Yeah.
Mr. broke his pelvis.
Oof.
Shattered it.
Damn. That poor fuck. That poor bastard. Paul George isn't there.
Paul George is not there. Playoff P did not make
Well, it's not the playoffs.
top 25 for DC.
Well, it's not the playoffs. So there you go.
No.
Like that's it.
No.
I mean, you can't really argue with that. Like, those are stud NBA players. Like, maybe, you shift some guys around. maybe you got a guy like Jimmy Butler makes his way on the list.
It's a fluid list.
Yeah,
I think the list changes as we go on through the season. But as of right now, looking at the teams, looking at the game. Oh, yeah, and the other guy that's not on this list is the player from Orlando.
Oh, yeah, Paolo Banchero. Yeah, Banchero would be...
Yeah, because he's hurt.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Hurt, but he would definitely be up here. Oh, yeah, he'd be up there.
Sure would. Absolutely.
He's
and,
incredible.
I'm surprised that, Joel Embiid... I'm surprised he's as high on your list, especially since he doesn't. He's late to everything, so he's late to the top 10 as well. If you listen to Tyrese Maxey,
but if he was but if he's healthy, he would definitely be within the top 10.
That's the problem, though. Like you're looking at this, right? You're looking at Giannis and you're looking at Embiid. Is that a little high because of the health? So possibly you can move them down. You can shift them down a little bit because they are. They're starting to get a little long in the tooth, even though they're, not even 30 yet or in their early 30s. Like their body may start to betray them and break down a little bit. We've kind of seen that, but overall, it's a solid list. You really can't, quibble with it. There's nobody egregious. There's no egregious person. It's like, what, are you fucking kidding me? Kind of thing. But no. Right. Overall, I think that that's a fair list. Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't add anybody. Like, the only person I would add is Jimmy, but only because he's hurt. I understand why you kept him off. But overall, I think it's a solid list, and you can do well with any of these guys. So, you heard D's list. What's yours? Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com, or post your list to our X account at FadeRouteDNZ, or drop us a line on our Instagram at FadeRoute Podcast and let us know who you got as the top 25 NBA players so far.
Hey there, NFL football fans. This is the lovely Rita Sanchez, aka your option football champ for the 2023 NFL season. I'm inviting you to join us for the 2024 option, where we pick the winning teams for each week's matchups and compete against each other to see whose picks reign supreme. Are you in? Head over to CBS Sports and search for the Option 2024 League, or hit the link in the bio on the Fade Route socials and join today. It's for free. Pick a witty name, some winning teams, and I'll see you out there for week 1.
Bullshit or no shit? We're going to debunk this week's most controversial topics right
All right, boys and girls, it's time for a little bullshit or no shit. Bullshit or no shit, number 1. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are pretenders.
No shit. 100% no shit. Did you watch them play? Did you watch the last game against the Steelers?
Oh.
I mean, like, who's the Ravens beat this year where you can really hang your hat and say, oh man, they really took them. Like, they didn't beat Kansas City. They lost that in the home opener. And granted, they only lost by a touchdown. They lost. They had a clutch win early in the first month of the season against the Bills.
Yes.
But that was in Baltimore. Okay? And that's when King Henry ran wild. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, it's been par for the course. They only beat the garbage Bengals by 1. Like, they pounced on a Bronco team with a rookie quarterback, but that was again in Baltimore. They're 7-4. Lamar has a bad record against the Steelers. Lamar has a bad record against the Chiefs. The play calling down the stretch was just awful. Derrick Henry not getting the ball. They're pretenders, dude. I am not picking them to beat any team in the AFC come playoff time.
It's kind of hard to not agree and say no shit, right? Their pass defense is suspect. You mentioned their play calling. Whenever they want to get Derrick Henry involved, please, by all means, do so. Lamar Jackson, I hear the MVP conversation, and I don't think he's a runaway. You can make your argument, but I don't think that he's a slam dunk. He's had a solid year, but I don't think that it's a slam dunk. Nowhere near. You have Josh Allen, you have, Jared Goff outside of that 5-pick performance. You have guys who are equal or superior to Lamar Jackson in terms of the numbers. But you're right. There's not much impressive here. There's not much that's impressive at all. I mean, they beat the Bucs by 10. Okay. But I believe that was also the game where they lost Evans and Godwin. And they gave up 31. So yeah, you scored 41. Your defense still gave up 31. So that's kind of a problem. You gave up 25 to the dog shit Cowboys. Right? You lost to the Raiders. You lost to the Raiders. That's all you need to know. You lost to the Raiders and the Browns. Come on now. Why are we having this conversation? Are you shitting me? That's, what more do you need to know? And you lost to a Steelers team who didn't score a touchdown. Chris Boswell, 6 field goals. And then you got Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker is having a terrible season. We missed him when we were talking about fantasy performances. Justin Tucker's been awful. And then to blame the less than ideal kicking surface, where Chris Boswell went 6 for fucking 6. That's a bad look. So
he's no longer the most accurate kicker.
No.
Eddie Pinheiro is.
Steady Eddie. That's surprising. I mean, Jake Elliott missed. The kickers have been missing this year, man. It's been Jake Elliott missed 2, Jake Moody missed 4. That's, in a game, not just, overall. It's in a game. But, yeah, it has not been a great year for place kickers. And people are starting to say that maybe Justin Tucker's washed. But that's how kicking is sometimes. You lose it and you get it back. Mason Crosby went in the toilet for 2 years, and all of a sudden he remembered how to kick again. So, it's possible that it's just a case of the yips, or it's just a down season for Mr. Tucker. But they'll make the playoffs. Maybe win a round. Right now, I can't say any more than that, but it really depends on the draw that they get. Bullshit or no shit. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills are better than the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going to say no shit, because the Chiefs, the way they've been playing, and we talked about Patrick Mahomes' stats before in an earlier segment, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. It's pedestrian. It's just making me feel like any quarterback could run this Chiefs offense and still have success. Maybe not 9-1, but have success. Travis Kelce, only 2 touchdowns all year. They went and traded for DeAndre Hopkins. He hasn't made a real difference yet. I mean, he's gotten people paying attention to him, but he's not really doing much. Xavier Worthy's he's hit or miss. This team is just, it's not like previous years. And it's like I said, it's they can have a really good season, but then they get punched in the mouth in their first playoff.
Yeah, I gotta go no shit on this as well. Everything just seems very smoke and mirrors this year for the Chiefs. They're finding ways to win, whether it's on the block kick or it's on Isaiah Likely having too big of a foot, or, it's just very fluky. And they're staying in it. They're doing what they need to do as champions to weather the storm and win. Whereas the Buffalo Bills are actively going out and kicking the dog shit out of people. That's way more impressive. Now, and we saw it head-to-head, right? Buffalo won. So yeah, the better team is the team that wins. So I gotta say that the Buffalo Bills are better right now. If Kansas City's able to shake off the doldrums and they meet again in the AFC title game, that's a pick 'em. If they're able to do what they do, I gotta say that's a pick 'em. But right now, the way that both teams are playing, you have to favor the Buffalo Bills. It's just that they don't have the malaise hanging over them that the Kansas City Chiefs do. Bullshit or no shit. Number 3. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are the same player.
No shit. No shit, they're the same player. You look at their last... Hold on, I wrote it down here. You look at their last 7 games, Z. Right? And we have... Jaden Daniels, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Caleb Williams, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. One guy is being hailed as the Rookie of the Year in the second coming. Another guy is being told he needs to learn a lot in the NFL to be effective. How about them apples?
I gotta say that it's very close. It's actually very close. Now, Jaden Daniels definitely got out to the head start that allows for a little bit of the growing pain. And Caleb Williams is still very much learning on the job. The Commanders have a better offensive line than the Chicago Bears. So Jaden Daniels can afford to be upright a little bit longer, whereas Caleb Williams is on his back a lot more. Production-wise, you can't get more even. So where they are, I think that Daniels is more of a dynamic runner than Caleb Williams is. Like, both of them can, but I think that Daniels is more explosive. So that's the one thing that differentiates them. And with the rib issue that Jaden Daniels have, Dan Quinn ain't having him run. Just plain and simple. It's like, if you run, you're fucking sliding. Like, don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid to jeopardize this. But production-wise, they're a rookie in the middle of their rookie year, and they're kind of hitting the dip. Right? Now, how do you keep going is the question. And, you know, Drake May got a late start to the party. He'll hit his dip. It's just inevitable that these rookies are going to go through that. So we'll definitely see. Caleb Williams, he has the negative history of Chicago and quarterbacks working against him. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, Daniels has the edge, but just barely. And a bonus, bullshit or no shit. Bullshit or no shit, number 4. The Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight was worth watching.
Bullshit. I'm glad I didn't pay for that. I really wanted to see it, and I was trying to gather some friends together to watch it. I didn't watch it. I saw some highlights, and man, am I glad I did not watch that garbage.
From an entertainment standpoint, it was bullshit. Like, the fight, I think it's about the 3rd round when it really starts to turn, and you can tell that, like, Jake Paul is pulling his punches and he doesn't want to hurt Mike Tyson. But there was a moment in time where Mike Tyson did hurt Jake Paul, and then the old Mike Tyson would have gone in for the kill. The Mike Tyson here, the spectacle Mike Tyson, the the pro wrestling Mike Tyson, because that's what this was. This was pro wrestling but boxing. It's a show. It's a spectacle. You needed to put on a good show. Now the real boxing, the good fights were in the undercard. There were 2 good fights in the undercard. Now the Serrano fight, I know there was controversy over the outcome since there was a point deduction. So that was a little controversial, but overall the actual fight of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was not worth the eyeballs. It was just kind of very pedestrian, but the spectacle of it was very interesting. And I think that this level of showmanship is what Jake Paul brings to the table. Now, who's he fight next? Right? He's cleaned out the 58 and over crowd. He has cleaned out all the retired MMA fighters who are looking for a payday. But who's left? Canelo Alvarez, I don't think he's going to fight. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe Conor McGregor. Like, that could be a fucking spectacle. That would be a worthy shit show of McGregor versus Jake Paul. That would be very, very interesting. What I would like to see, and Stephen A. Smith said this too, actually fight a boxer in his prime who's actually notable. So don't fight a tomato can. Go and fight somebody good. I think the light heavyweight champion actually reached out and said, hey, if you want to take on a fighter, I'm your Huckleberry. So that could be very interesting. We'll see. There will be more of these. Jake Paul is the honky-tonk man. He builds the fight so that you want to see him lose, but he don't lose. The house always wins, especially when you're the promoter. So there's something to be said about that. As the credits were rolling, both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul were the executive producers of the fight. So, food for thought on that. So, we'll see, but there will be more. It will be grander. And hey, you know what? The Jake Paul fight, the Mike Tyson fight, that might have been the only good thing that happened in Cowboy Stadium this past weekend. So kudos to you guys for putting on a wonderful show. Lord knows the Cowboys didn't Monday night. Too soon?
Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade Store with DNZ.com today and check out our releases in apparel, accessories, drinkware, and more. Ever wanted an Alleged Superstar t-shirt? We got those. You want some yoga pants? We got those too. And we're not done yet. We have a lot of exciting collaborations and new products on the way. But check out what we have now at the Fade Store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade Store with DNZ.com. Who's the best of the worst this week in sports? The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
Alright, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. You know how it goes. We put up a poll on our X account at FadeRouteDNZ and our Instagram poll at FadeRoute Podcast. And you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets a shout out in this here show and takes home the coveted ass trophy. And do you know who took home the coveted ass trophy, D?
I don't.
The MLS. Well, that's a problem. That's a major problem for Major League Soccer. You put all your eggs in the Inter Miami and Lionel Messi basket, and oops. Sucks to suck. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week? D.
First up, I've got New York Giants third string quarterback Daniel Jones. 21-32 as the starting quarterback of the New York Football Giants. This year he has 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 46.8 QBR. Missing wide open wide receivers, and he is headed to the bench. Your last snap as a Giant will be a handoff to a running back in Munich, Germany. Daniel Jones, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, I've got Aaron Rodgers. More putrid play from you has resulted in General Manager Joe Douglas being fired. This team still has not scored 30 points. Aaron's averaged 6.3 yards per pass last game. Sunday, he accumulated only 184 yards against the Colts and lost to a quarterback who hasn't played in a month. Aaron Rodgers, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And last but not least, former GM of the New York Jets, Joe Douglas. Your reign is over. 30-64 as the GM of the New York Paper Planes in who knows how many seasons. Among the many errors, the one I will highlight is you got rid of Sam Darnold, you drafted Zach Wilson, and you decided to move forward with a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off of an Achilles injury.
Oof.
Joe Douglas, you are my alleged superstar of the week. What do you got, Z?
Great choices. You really can't argue with most of them. I'm going to start with Justin Tucker. 2 more missed field goals this weekend. 1 from 47 and 1 from 50. No longer the most accurate kicker in football. This season, he has missed 6 field goals and 1 extra point. Ooh, that is... Yeah. What more can you say about Justin Tucker other than it's having a bit of a bad year there? Justin Tucker, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lions 52, Jaguars 6. Ooh, damn. Granted, Mac Jones was under center, but ooh, damn. You couldn't sniff double digits? Jesus. It's a miracle Doug Peterson still has his job right now. Jacksonville Jaguars, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And number 3, Major League Baseball. Now, the Manager of the Year awards just came down, and Pat Murphy of the Milwaukee Brewers has taken home the National League Manager of the Year. Mike Shildt finished in second. Carlos Mendoza of the Mets finished third. Very interesting how that turned out. Very interesting how that turned out. Considering the fact that the story of the Mets all year and the compelling nature of the job that Carlos Mendoza did should have warranted a little bit more of a look. Carlos Mendoza only got one first place vote for Manager of the Year. That's insane.
Must have been your vote.
Absolutely was my vote. Absolutely was my vote. And you were on record last week saying you would have voted for him too. The problem is that, yeah, apparently just kind of is good enough to be Manager of the Year. Whatever. Sure. Fine. I don't see it, but okay. You do you. Major League Baseball, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we said our piece. Go to our X account at FadeRouteDNZ. drop us a line on our Instagram poll at Fade Route Podcast and vote. And vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominees.
You're better than that. Just do better. Just do better.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay fade, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review, rate us 5 stars, turn on subscription notifications, and share on social media. Tell your friends and spread the word.